right,
Well
we're
done.
at 2.
Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, you are here with us in the Enhancing Outreach and Community Engagement panel here at the ACM conference. And a little bit of an overview for us. We're going to be going over introductions, and then we will have a short discussion about some of the things that have been working for us in our community media centers. And then we'll open it up for a Q&A. So definitely have your questions ready. I think we have a real good panel here that can share a lot of really awesome things. So I am Jasiri Jenkins-Glenn. I'm the Director of Community Engagement at Pasadena Media in the city of Pasadena. And I first became involved with community media actually at Santa Cruz Community TV, which Becca runs. And I started as a community member volunteer, sat on their volunteer advisory board, and just grew a love for community media. And then I moved back home to Pasadena and realized they had a media center. And so I got involved as a community producer. And then that was before COVID. After COVID, I found out that there was a position open, and I felt like it was the right fit. And so I've been there for almost 2 years now, serving in this capacity, really having a good time. And so my focuses are on relationship building, strategy development, and community partnerships as well. And so I'll pass the mic on over to Maricela.
Thank you, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Maricela Hernandez, and I am with CMAC Fresno. And I've been with CMAC since 2018. Started out as a production assistant and just working my way up. It's one of the best places that I've ever worked at, and I've worked for other nonprofits as well. And I had a very diverse background in different fields of employment. So being able to really come back to the nonprofit world in this capacity and give back to the community that actually helped raise me when I was volunteering and for nonprofits and everything is just a real blessing for me. Some of the things that I do focus on in my task as an outreach and development coordinator, a lot of the graphic design, so I did bring some pins and some stickers. I don't have my full set, but I hope you guys can get in and enjoy those. Very proud of the pins. But yeah, definitely we're definitely in this new role that I've come into, focusing on partnership development and those relationships as well. That's no wonder we're on the same
Exactly.
panel, right? And then digital content management, also supporting everything that we do online via our social and our website and all that good stuff.
I'm Becca King-Reed. I run the station in Santa Cruz. CTV, it's called, Community Television for Santa Cruz County. And I started there in 2015, so 10 years ago. And I tried to talk them out of hiring me. I thought I came from broadcast TV, and they called me up and said, you ought to come down and talk to us. So I went down and talked to them, and I said, I just don't have the credentials for this. I have a whole different skill set. But they convinced me. So I did join, and I've been there for 10 years, so they were right. And it was a wild ride for me, though, because it's a whole different business model, a whole different revenue model. Everything's different. And it has been, I had to think about everything differently. And the one thing that really made the difference, that made it possible for me to do things there and to meet the mission of CTV was partnerships with other people in the community. And that's my story. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Becca and Maricela. So we're going to talk about our community media centers and what they look like. For us over at Pasadena Media, we are a staff of 16 full-time and part-time folks. We recently grew in a way because we did turn 2 of our full-time positions that ended into 4 part-time positions, which has been really great, actually, so far. And shout out to Bobby and Sharon and Angela, my crew here. And so our departments that are pretty active is the community engagement team, which is my team. We are a team of 3 full-time employees, and then we do have 2 individuals who serve us as the community care coordinators. They are actually with us as a part of a training program through the Department of Labor. So that's just an example of how we make other programs work to our benefit. They get paid by the Department of Labor, but then they train with us. One way that we, can get paid assistance there. And then we have the production team who handles all of our government channeling and programming, in addition to our pro services. And so we run 4 different channels. We have the Arroyo channel, which is our public access station. We have 2 education channels, so that's in combination with Pasadena City College, so PCC TV. We have K-Learn, which is going to be our PUSD programming, Pasadena Unified School District. And then we have our government programming, which is our KPAS channel. And so the services that we predominantly offer are free training classes so that folks can come in and learn to produce or support productions. And then we offer reasonable producer rates for those who do want to produce with us. And it's free membership unless you want to produce. And then we do have a very nice amount of internships that we've been running over the last 1.5 to 2 years. And then we also put out PMNs, which are our Pasadena Media News Stories. So this serves our nonprofit segment of the community very well. In addition to our government, these are daily stories that go out. They're 2 minutes or less that Angela and Sharon produce. And they go out on behalf of the community so that things that are important to our community can be shared. Obviously, also PSAs, bulletins, and we do produce our own shows in addition to supporting the community with their shows. So I'll pass the mic on over to CMAC.
Thank you. So CMAC will look different in some ways. We do have a staff of 20. Thank goodness we have the capacity to grow our team. With 4 part-timers, maybe a little bit more. I think it might be 5 part-timers. And the rest are full-time. We have our teams split up into 3 different departments. We have our production team that's actually covering this whole ACM event. So shout out to them for putting all this together. We have our outreach, I put the wrong one. We have our operations team. That's our operations team. We have our community team, the community media team that takes care of all the members, gets them through the door, trains them, and does everything that that deals with membership and getting all that education stuff through the door and everything like that, and providing opportunities for our members and stuff. And then we also have our outreach and engagement team, which is a team of 4, which is the smaller one, but small but mighty, right? And that includes me and 3 other employees. And we basically really focus on trying to really create opportunities for the public to come in through our doors, for us to outreach and all that stuff, but we'll talk about that later. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Some of the services that we do offer as CMAC, being CMAC, we do have a pay what you can membership. What our biggest thing is that we want to create less barriers for people to try to access our equipment, our resources, and everything. So we have a pay what you can with a minimum of 40, but we've been really happy to see that a lot of people who've become members have given more than 40, and sometimes 40 is all they can give, and it's totally fine. But we definitely appreciate the extra, gifts that we get from them in that perspective. We also do have workshops. Our workshops are actually open to the public and our members. So one perk of being a member is all the workshops you can attend are free. If you are a non-member, it's just a small rate of $10 per session. And then we do have programs. Sometimes people come in and they just want to get going, and they are very structured, they're very organized, but some don't, and some need that educational structure. And so we have programs that will lead them through a 10-week, 14-week process of how to make a documentary film, understanding everything from the ins and outs of video production. And then also we host events to the public and some specific for our members. But that will, more details to come. I'm gonna pass it on.
Hi, we have a giant staff of 3. I am
Small
one.
but mighty.
Yes, a little bit oh my, as my grandmother would say. We have 2 full-time people, me and the person that runs our government meeting service and our operations. He runs the TV station, and the people that do government meetings. So we do have 4 part-time people that do government meetings only, but they're never in the building, so I don't count them. They're always in the chamber somewhere. And we don't really have departments. we have the guy that runs the government area, and membership is done by we have 2 board members who work with the membership. It's a pretty well-established membership. We've been there for 30 years, and some of these people have been there. Some of the ones we have now have been there 20 years. Mm-hmm. So they all know everything. They work with each other. They're a great team, and then the board members supervise them and organize them. And the partnerships are what I do mostly. I do partnerships with the community, and you'll hear more about that later. Services we offer, we do have a paid membership, and we have a free one if you can't afford to pay. But if you can, then there's an annual membership, and we have an interesting CTV, before I arrived, put together this thing they call the points economy, where members can do things for CTV. They can work on CTV official projects, or one time they helped us move. We had to change buildings. And whenever they do something, they get points for every hour that they spend, and then they can use those to pay for the studio or rent equipment or whatever they want. So they really like that. And someone came to me the other day and asked me how many points he had, and he had 1,200.
Wow.
So he's good for the rest of his life, I figure. And we also, some of the members do workshops. So they hold them themselves. They've been there so long, they know everything. So they do the sharing. Also, board members do workshops. And we had one recently where one of our board members taught how to stream to different services. So we have the equipment for that. So they've all learned how they can stream out to YouTube and other places. And we do programs, and we have a few things that we do in the community that are programs. We have a program where we grant equipment to schools or different organizations, and other things that you'll hear about later. But that's pretty much what we offer.
Awesome. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is our outreach strategies. What are we doing? And we'll start off with talking about tabling events. And I'm going to pass it over to Maricela to kick us off there.
Yeah, so just wanted to give you some background on like when we first started tabling events between 2017 and 2022. At the most, we would do about 5 a year, and that was if we got an invitation. But then we changed things up post-pandemic. Our team got bigger, and we wanted to do more, and we wanted to be intentional about what we do. So we set out our goal to try to do at least 1 tabling event per month, and we surpassed that goal in 2024, doing 16 events. And in 2024, we served over, I'm pretty sure, over 2,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and this year we already finished 6 tabling events, and we're sure to surpass our previous year's numbers. So definitely looking forward to that. Some of the things that we did notice with tabling events, like I said, we used to just get 10 tabling events by invite, so just few and in between. But now with intentional efforts and everything, we're doing less of that seeking, so less of our efforts are going to seeking because we've already established the people and places and partnerships that we want to be, and the spaces we want to be in, because that's where our community is, and that's where we're going out to meet our community there. So now we're receiving more invitations to be out there working with schools, different organizations. There's a Grizzly Stadium here. And we work with them when they have their cultural nights as well. So it's a good diverse mix of events, tabling events we get to go to, because they don't know about CMAC yet, and I'm here to tell you everything about it. So that's tabling events on my end.
Yeah. And one thing that's interesting about tabling events, I love that you mentioned the seeking aspect. I hadn't thought of it like a process, you know, but that you've gotten your name out there already. And so I think that's something that our team, we are known for covering those events, but not necessarily having a table there and being representative, talking to the community. So that's something.
It's so interesting because you see like the tabling events, really it's like they leads you to more opportunities.
Right,
So like after one tabling event, we had like 4 different teachers from different high schools just contact us like, hey, can you come in like next week, or can you come in next month? We have an event going on, and especially like doing job fairs and everything because we do have youth programs, and being able to contribute to the young people's growth and letting them know that there's opportunities here for them is just amazing, and they get a lot from that too. So
Awesome.
definitely.
Well, look at us. We're inspired too by this. Thank you. And so next, as Maricela said, we're going to go to monthly events. And did you want to start
monthly
there?
events?
Yeah,
I
or
can start that.
Okay,
We have,
cool.
Since we have no staff, what we do is we reach out to other organizations and try to set up places where we can be with them or they can be with us. And we have a small radio station that we give office space to. And so part of their arrangement with us is that they do events, because they have a big audience. So they do events in our building, and all those people come and see us, and then we give them tours, and they see what we have. So that's one way we do that. They also teach a podcasting class, so we have that. It's 8 weeks long, so we get brand new people in the door for 8 weeks who've never been there before. They get used to going there, they see everything, and then they know about us. And they've been very enterprising. They've linked up with the community college and gotten in their lifelong learners catalog, and so we're mentioned in the catalog as the host of this podcast. And we don't do anything, we just open the door. So it's really good for us, and it's been very good for them. And we're getting podcasters. We actually have podcasting equipment, so finally being used.
Awesome. And Maricela, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to point out some of the points that we have below with our external socials and workshops. Our externals are us going out to our communities and sharing and educating people on our organizations, our organization and what we do, because they might not know what CMAC is. And so we definitely go out there, create opportunities for people to get to know. And then that's us working out. Now we're inviting the public in to our space with our socials. So like holding monthly social events here in Fresno, which is tonight, is a little special thing that happens every first Thursday of the month. It's called Art Hop. And so we invite the public in. And something that we've been doing for the last couple of years is actually really pushing out promotion for all our producers. So this month is Women's History Month. So we're celebrating women in media. So whether you're the talent or behind the camera, we want to make that known, and we want to uplift the voices of our community. And that's our gallery space where they come in. There's a QR code, and they could scan and watch on the dot, or I'll do producers, and they can watch everything they've ever produced before. Wow. So creating those opportunities for the public to come in, get to know us, haven't seen the building. Yeah. Like, you'll be surprised. Some of our neighbors don't know who we are, so they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Right. So those are like different events where, like, we're meeting people out where they are, and then we're inviting people to come where we are to give them more opportunities to engage and get to know us. And then for us, we do have workshops that we do host to not only, and this is workshops that are open to the public, so they're getting opportunities to be smarter consumers and producers of media, because we're living in an age where disinformation, malinformation, all this type of corrupt information is out there. It's really important for us to really be on top of media literacy and being able to give our members the tools they need to succeed.
Beautiful, beautiful, yeah. And so for Pasadena Media, we do host monthly events. Our external events are predominantly related to events happening in the city. So when we are having festivals or parades, we're definitely going to be present there, going back to tabling. And then also different groups will have meetings. So there will be community-focused meetings. We're a we're a city that has 7 individual districts, so they each have a city council member, and so they all hold different types of events, sometimes specific to their district. And so we try to make it where we're present at all of those, and those would be external-facing events that we do attend, and it would be monthly, sometimes quarterly, and sometimes yearly. It's just a once-a-year thing that serves the community. As far as socials go, we do host our wonderful holiday party, which oddly aligns up with our birthday as well, so that's always fun. We just turned 41, so that is exciting. And we also hold a summer social, which we started last year. And so that was really nice. These are member-only events, except for the holiday party. We do invite certain stakeholders and community folks, especially related to government. They come and show their face there. But as far as the summer social, and hopefully we'll be doing a producer retreat that will be an annual thing, these are going to be for members only. This is an opportunity for our new members who come in and maybe only meet a fraction of our membership. It's an opportunity for them all to get together and meet and socialize and network. At the end of the day, these are creative people trying to network with each other so that they can support each other's projects and grow and build that way. And then as far as workshops go, we do offer all of our classes monthly. These are free to members, but you do have to be a member. And we just started last month what is called collab events. These are opportunities for our membership and the public to take their education to the next level. So last month, we kicked it off with as the language of cinematography, where we had a gentleman come in. He worked with a small group of folks to learn about certain shots, mood, all kinds of things that you think about with cinematography. We offer camera classes, we offer all of that, but sometimes we're not able to go so deep into what really is a part of the production quality of a piece. And so he was able to do that. This month, we're really excited to offer a workshop on independent book publishing. So a friend of mine, he published 2 children's books himself. He did all the work. He sourced all of the people who helped put it together, illustrators and all that. So now he's going to share his knowledge with our community. When we do these collab events, we do offer early bird pricing to our membership, and then they still get a reduced price compared to the public. So this is our opportunity to encourage the public to become members and also to get the public in our space, because that's like the carrot. Yes. It's like, oh, come in here for this thing. And then they realize, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even know you were here. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so these workshops are great opportunities for us to educate our people, but then also get non-members into the doors as well. So we're going to move on to community partnerships and doing more with less. So I'll actually, I'm going to start with you, Becca.
Yeah, doing more with less, doing more with nothing. We have, as I've mentioned.
Skills.
Yes, it's like magic. So what we do is when we want to do something, we have a mission statement, as I'm sure all of you do, and part of that is to help the community thrive in a digital world, and another is to make sure that we educate a great deal of people in digital media skills and television. And it's hard. We have as I mentioned, we've had some board members give classes, but they have jobs, so they're not there all the time. And we reach people, but not enough people. So what we've started to do is what we call equipment grants. We had way back, 10 years ago, there was an organization in the community that was working with youth and trying to give them tech skills. So they asked the county if they could have some PEG money to buy the gear for that. And our liaison at the county called us and said, what if we gave you a grant and you administrated it and you could give it to this group and other groups and we'll give it to you every year? So that's what we did. We said yes. And we started with that one. That was our beta test. We figured out what works and what doesn't. We gave them quite a bit of equipment. It was like a whole studio's worth of equipment. And it was hard to track. So if you think you want to do this, give me a call. And so that worked out okay. We did 2 more high schools, and They did great. One of them made a whole documentary. They made all of these really fun PSAs. Some of them were film noir. They were they were very creative. And then another one still has a grant with us. They've renewed their grant 3 times, and they have had their students get jobs in TV from the work that they've done at school. So we're really happy about that. But that wasn't a lot of people. So what we found, what sparked our thing that really got us going in this area was the pandemic. Kids were at home and they were on their own. And video is kind of a team sport when you start out. You don't, there's somebody knows each skill and you all get together. And kids were at home alone. So what we came up with, we approached the county about providing these backpacks with an iPad and a microphone and a tripod in it.
Wow.
And kids could work on their own because they understand iPads. We don't have to teach them anything. They got it. So we did that. We worked with the County Office of Education, and we gave them 25, and we had some rules. They had to allow for exploration and playing, and not make them like a typewriter where they were just something to get your schoolwork done on. And they promised to do that, and they did. They actually created a curriculum for teaching digital media, and it's free to anyone. So any other organization that wants to do it can get this curriculum and have a plan for teaching students. And we've given them, we did 25, and that went really well, and they asked for 25 more. They actually asked for 100 more, but we couldn't afford that. We gave them 25 more, and it's been great. We've gotten these kits into the hands of like over 2,000 kids. And so they all know how to make a little story. And they send them to us, so we can put them on TV. We can't put them all on TV, but the best one, the one that there was 2. I have 2 favorites. One was a student, 2 students, and they did this thing about if you're 17, how to register to vote, so when the election comes, you're ready. And it was like they used a whiteboard, and they had, where to go, how old, what you bring your driver's license, all the information.
That's awesome.
And they just did an excellent job. They traded back and forth. They're just great. And they shot it themselves with the iPad, and they edited it. And we put it on TV. It ran for a long time, all throughout the election. So that was a great one. And my other one was there was junior high school kids, and they were doing a man on the street about what's your least favorite and most favorite Christmas carol.
Oh.
And all the girls loved All I Want for Christmas Is You. And all the boys hated All I Want for Christmas Is You. So that was a great one. We put that on TV at Christmas time. That got lots of attention.
Yeah.
So those are the kids. The podcasters have been the best, and we've gotten the farthest with them. They've kids.
cool.
We did a little beta test with a teacher just about to get her credential from the local university, and she had 5 students. She was homeschooling because it was the pandemic. So she did that, and they did little science projects and recorded them. They also recorded their dad secretly working in his office. And, so it started off with 5. Now they've got 50, and we're reaching just a ton of students. That's the best one. We've done other kinds of things, but we have a community partnership with the radio station, like I explained, and we have others, but the point is really to find people who have what you don't and give them something they need. So sometimes we give space, sometimes we give time, sometimes we have a partnership with the local radio station because they don't have a conference room. So they come to our place and use our conference room, and then then they use the studio. I mean, they get in and they learn more, and the real thing is just getting them in the door. And then, having other groups like the radio station giving the podcasting class, or the members, the board members coming in and doing classes, that it's really helpful to, we did another one too. The boys in the Parks and Recreation, they had a teacher who, not in association with Parks and Recreation, would do this film class every year out at this farm in the middle of nowhere, and he would have 12 students, and they would make a movie. And they put, the Sentinel wrote about it, the paper. So I called them and said, "Would you like to have a full-time film program? I think we could make that happen for you." So I met with them. We gave them all the gear. And the teacher was thrilled. He was like, I'm still using my own gear, from college. And so he took our gear. They made a Halloween movie, and they put it on the air. And we're going to do it again with them. There was a little contract thing we had to come up with insurance. There was a little thing about that, but we got the insurance coverage, and they did a great job. They executed, and so now we can work with them again and again. And from there, I want to go to the Boys and Girls Club. So there's all kinds of interesting organizations out there that you can work with if you don't have, like me, very many people. And even if you do, I mean, there can be a bonus. Those guys can add. They're a value add, and you can get a lot done with very little if you meet enough people, charm enough organizations, and give them what you have. And we have the expensive thing. We have the gear, and so it's a conversation starter for sure.
I just want to say, Becca, you have a lot of charm. All right. Did you want to say anything else on community partnership?
Did you? I wanted to check in with you first.
Well,
and then, yeah.
we do. It does remind me of like the things that we do at CMAC. Does rely on a lot of. We do want to have more community partnerships. Like partnering up with people who are coming through town, doing screenings, and making our space available for them, and inviting people for a free screening and coming out. We did one where on this documentary where it was the documentary was called Misled, and so we had the screening, but they also brought a bunch of supplies that they were screening for lead and how much lead it had. So I'm like bringing in all my mugs and all that stuff, but. It's just really awesome because we see a lot of community partnership, especially with our operations team. They partnered up with the local housing authority to do our summer programs. We've partnered up with the library to do summer programs with them as well. And so definitely working with different age range from like not toddlers, but we were talking about kids that are around 10 to 12, all the way to our, in my eyes. But we're all the way working up to our doing a Savvy Seniors program where we teach our seniors how to be savvy with technology.
Nice.
But yeah, we do see the value in that, and I feel like having these community partnerships really just not only strengthens your connection with them, but in general strengthens the community. Yeah. And when you are working in collaboration with each other, I feel like that's creating a unity and a vibe that the community is picking up and want to be a part of. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
May I mention one thing?
Yeah, please.
One of the things that this really helps with validation. So I don't know if everybody has to do this, but every year I have to write a big report to the government telling them what I've done. And this is great stuff. I mean, they love to see this. You can put the little videos in the report, links to them, and people do watch them, and they can see how many kids you've worked with and what they've done. Especially the voting one was real popular with the government. So those things they give you one more thing. We don't have a lot of ways. We can say how many members we have and maybe how many hours they've been there, but they do the work. We don't really do that much. So having these kinds of things to report with great little stories is really helpful, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved the one-liner there, doing more with less, because I think most of us are in the position where we're having to do that. And one way that I feel we've successfully done that with Pasadena Media is through our staff. We have just really well-skilled people. Some of our skills cross over, but then each of us have like a strength that no one else really has, and that allows us to be small but mighty and do things that I think are really impressive to people, but then they find out that we have a smaller team, although it's not as small as Becca's team. And so just by way of community partnerships, some of the things that we've been really focusing on is our internships. We have been doing a lot more partnering with the schools themselves, and predominantly the universities or the city colleges, in addition to we already had an existing partnership with Pasadena Unified School District. And so in the summertime, speaking about doing more with less, in the summertime we have a program that pays juniors that are going to senior year, and we can take as many of those students as we can fit and that want to participate with us. But what we did last year is we also included our Occidental College intern and a Cal State University Northridge intern. And then I threw my daughter in there. She was 14. So we had an age range of age 14 to 34 of all students who came in, they learned. We put them on a real fast track pace of learning everything in 1 month. And then basically all through July to August, they executed on everything that they had learned. And it was awesome. I mean, people were just so impressed with the professionalism of the younger people. And I think the ones who were more advanced, our college students, they got the hands-on training that they don't actually usually get in the schools. They get all the book knowledge, they learn the theory, but they're not putting down cable, and they're not sitting in these rooms where they have to stay awake for an 8-hour community meeting, right? So these were really valuable, and because we partnered them together, the older students were able to support the younger, and I think some of the older students learned from the younger ones too, you know, and so it was really great. And we're gonna start a new partnership with Pasadena City College, where now we do have these active internships with them. We're now a partner for their intern Pasadena program. And I'm really excited because there's a small liberal arts university called Providence Christian College, and their professor of film and media, he came in to become a member. He just saw an announcement. I think it was when I first started. He saw the announcement that I had started. He reached out. He came in, became a member with us, and then he offered for us to actually teach his advanced production class. So technically, my team are professors now. And so we teach these students 2 times a week. They come in on Tuesday and Thursday for an hour, a little over an hour. And again, we're taking their learning from just this book information, and they're coming in and they're actually doing, and they're having a really great time. And so these are ways that we have strengthened the relationship with the schools in particular to reach our youth. We do want to start getting those younger folks, not quite toddlers, but like our middle school age students and even some elementary school age students. That's kind of the longer term goal, because in Pasadena, we have the great privilege of being in a community where there are a lot of beautiful art-based programming. There are high schools that are devoted strictly to arts. There are colleges devoted strictly to arts. And so if we can be the pipeline for that visually, that's gonna be wonderful, you know? And so we're thinking long-term about that. And some other things that we do with the nonprofits. We launched a show this past year called Nonprofit Spotlight. So we partnered it with a PSA. We offered them a free 1-hour session, filming session. They come in and they do a 30-second scripted PSA, and then they do a 10 to 12-minute interview. And we have already pre-designed questions, and through those questions, they get to tell the story about their organization. And this has been great because not only are most of these nonprofits not having any content to put out there, content is king. People don't realize it. They're like, oh, I want a YouTube. I want to, I want to go viral. It's like, yeah, you can't go viral without any content. So come and make free content with us. And so these nonprofits come in, they create this evergreen or slightly evergreen content, and then we put it out on our platforms, they put it out on theirs. That builds collaboration, it builds these partnerships, and they know where to come when it's time to actually create more content, start that podcast that their executive director was always talking about. When we are valuable to not only our government channel, when we're valuable to not only the individuals in our community, but we're valuable to our NGOs and our nonprofits in the city, then that makes it where it'll be harder for them to not value giving us money, to keep going. So those are some of the ways that we've enhanced our community partnerships. Oh, and I'm not gonna forget this. So co-locations. We are working on that, and I point to Bobby because she has been spearheading this. She is, again, in charge of our government channel, but we had the great opportunity, we did our strategic plan, and one of the things that was mentioned was, how do we become like the media center for our city? How do we have that representation? And one of the things that came out was, how do we do co-location, where we're having maybe mini studios in different places throughout our city, where maybe we're not manning it all the time, or personing it all the time, but we are present. We have a presence in these spaces. And so Bobby partnered up with the city of Pasadena, specifically at the Jackie Robinson Recreation Center. They had just done a redesign. They had empty spaces. There's a lot of places with empty spaces looking to do something. And now we're talking about a podcast studio. We're talking about offering classes there even. In addition to this ended up coming full circle and opening an opportunity to do something with the teen center. So you just never know like whose hands are in what, and if you work on one project and you push on that, they may say, oh, there's space over in this other place for what you're doing. And so that's something.
Yeah, it really seems that it's just like, web, the one person you reach out to, like they know two more people and they recommend, because that's what we see at CMAC too. Like, hey, like, my friend told me about this, so I wanted to come in and check it out. Or, our partners come out and they recommend us to others, and that's where we get more partnerships done and too. So it's just amazing all the collaboration that's going on there.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing. So we're going to move on over to the how, relationship building, which we know is also important. And it's all about relationship building. And so we try to take a strategic approach to that, beginning with relating to our community. Some of the ways that we do this is specifically, again, going back to just having a presence at parades and festivals, even going to NGO meetings. So Rotary, you guys all have a Rotary meeting in your place. Don't just like show up, but actually be a part. I have made really great connections that way. Our CEO, ED, George, is everywhere at all times, and people know him, and he's got that old Hollywood vibe to him, so he stands out. And that's been really beneficial to us, though, right? Because now he pulls us into these rooms, and then we make our own connections the way that we need to, and then we can build from there. Also, Leadership Pasadena has been a really valuable tool for our organization in particular. All of you will probably have some semblance of it, but it basically takes individuals from the community and teaches them teamwork, skill building, looking at our strengths and understanding that some of our strengths can be weaknesses too if we rely too heavily on them. Different things that make us think about how we are showing up as leaders, not only in professional scenes, but also at home. And so these have been really great because we've been able to build stronger relationships with people who are serving our community. If we're all serving, then again, it goes back to that web that is being built, right? Mm-hmm. And there's all these people who are like, hey, we've been thinking about how we could do something with this, and you're the missing piece. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I've heard that, like, you guys are the missing piece, and so it's such a great way that relationship building definitely impacts our community. Also, engage staff. So everyone works to their strength, and I kind of mentioned that already. The heartbeat. This was particularly important for us. If you guys know about the two really big fires that took place in LA, one of them were in our hills. It was my hometown, actually. And people know about Pasadena, but they don't know Altadena. Altadena is basically Pasadena, so it was a big impact to our community, to our membership, and just our community. And there were homes that were burned down in Pasadena, as well as just had amazing smoke damage, ash damage, all the things, right? And so we were put in this position where we really had to show up for our community, but we had to keep a pulse on what was needed, right? Sometimes it's too soon to be reaching out and saying, come tell your story about this devastating thing where you lost everything, and it was 2 weeks ago or 2 days ago or whatever that is. And so we needed to think about, well, what can we do right now? What can we do in the future? And then what's gonna happen in 2 years when people are rebuilding? And so when it first happened, the most important thing was information. We needed to be that space. And we have Antoine in the room. Our ED actually quoted you at our board meeting the other day. You mentioned something about how newspapers and, news outlets are disappearing. And it provides a really amazing spot for media centers to step up. Not that we're supposed to be the news, but we can be that source of information. And I have to say, Pasadena Media, we showed up and showed out. I'm bragging, like shameless brag, because now the city sees us as important. They're holding press conferences with Bobby and her team every week, okay? And they want to continue it, right? And then, for us, we're putting out this reliable information that even the government wasn't putting out, right? And so it just made us that source of information that people could trust. And so then moving on now to where we are, there's a lot of people who are in the place where they're processing what they went through. So now we're telling the stories. We're providing space for them to tell their stories. The Pasadena Museum of History reached out to us, and they wanted to partner with us to archive these stories. So now we're going to be the space where they come, they tell their stories, and then we get to share that, not only with the people who are alive now, but those little kids who had no idea about the Altadena that I got to grow up in. Right? But they get to hear about those stories through what we're a part of. And so it's just, this heartbeat is just like really pivotal because you don't know what it means to the community. And, it's like what they say, people remember how you made them feel, not what you did or said, right?
Not even your name.
Yeah, not your name.
What we do over here at CMAC with just the community engaging and heartbeat here, definitely putting the community first, because we wouldn't exist without our community, because they are our purpose. And being in those spaces where we host, we're going to events where that are hosted in their community, and providing that space and opportunity to hold events, bringing the community to us. Giving them an opportunity to learn who we are, what we do. A lot of, like I said earlier, like some people are our neighbors and they're coming into this 100-year-old building, not knowing what it is, and then they see all this technology and master control and everything else, and they're like, okay, tell me about it. I'm sold. I want a membership now. Providing events through different types of community events and stuff like that, because during those, when we go out, we build our relationships, we build those relationships not only with the students and folks that pass our table, but with the people that are actually putting together the event. They're like, you know what, I have another event, I want you to be there. I want, could we co-sponsor or in-kind sponsorship and stuff like that, or how can we work together? So really being in unity with our community. I know about 2 years ago, we held a block party, and our block contains, if you were there last night, it contains Arte Americas, which is Hispanic Art Museum, PBS, and then on the other side behind us, we have an ad agency, and then we have the Black Chamber of Commerce, and a bunch of our neighbors just got together and said, we need to do something with our corner. Let's celebrate being neighbors, let's celebrate and bring our community to us. And so having more events like that in collaboration. So that's what really excites me about the work that I get to do. Another thing about engaged staff, it's not just our outreach and development team that are making things and making moves and stuff like that. We are, but it's not just us. One example that I love to share is 2 of our staff members from 2 completely different teams came together and said, we need to have an opportunity for people to come in and really just express themselves with film. And so they created what's now known as Filmmaker Meetup, which is now a monthly meetup where they meet at the end of the month and they get to showcase films by the community, for the community. Wow. And they get to share their love of film and enthusiasts, and they get to show up for each other and support each other, and just another opportunity to network. And what we've seen, that's been one of our most successful meetups, because not only the people that we generally go out to see, it's a different crowd. And it's like, oh, yes, these are the people we also want to connect with. It's not about age or being young, old, or whatever. It's like all these diverse people coming in together for one purpose, and it's for film. And so it's really awesome to see it's bloomed so much, and I'm so excited to see what else they get to do. But when staff are taking the initiative, that they're inspired to do something and it's successful, and then it inspires them to do more. So what we did last year, we brought up also a contest, a film contest called the 72-hour film race. And we worked in collaboration. So I was doing a little bit of the art pieces behind it. And one of our guys in operations is like, I want this to happen. Here's my strategic plan. This is what I need to do. Am I doing everything right? Yes, you are. Okay, let's go back. So it's like within our staff that are getting inspired to create these opportunities for the people to come in, to enjoy, to be creative and have fun while doing it. Right. So, and also rewarding them for doing it. Rewards come in different packages, but definitely, the experience is rewarding on both ends. But yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. So, Becca, I think
after we talked a whole bunch, sorry, Becca.
Nonsense. I'm going to go back a step to the kind of news and information we can all provide, which is building a relationship. A little differently, not personal, but in the broad scope. And with my tiny team, what we have done is covered all the press conferences. So when the fires came and they burned up half the county, we went out at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and did the conferences and got them on the air right away. And so it was on our website. You can see the whole press conference, because they usually just get a little bite, and then your neighborhood isn't in that bite. So we showed the whole thing, and we did that for a couple of weeks. And that was good. And we also do, a lot of times representatives will come to town and do a town hall, and they in times of emergency. So we get in, we call them up and we ask if we can please go and shoot their town hall, and they usually let us in, and they give a lot of information about recovery, which is, the fire is the big deal and very exciting, but recovery is the information that you need.
That's right.
So we always cover those town halls, and so we get the information out to the people there. So on relationship building, I learned early in my career that if you want to see something or learn something, you just tell people you want to do it for television, and they will let you in. So the Vallejo animal place, what was that called? I don't know. It was like a big animal park, and they had baby tigers, and I wanted to pet them. So I called them up and said, I would like to do a story on your tigers, and they let me in. And so I got to pet the tigers and other things. It was wonderful. I got to go everywhere. I got to ride. They take the tigers out for, they call it enrichment. They put them on the back of a golf cart and drive them around. And they really like the aquarium. They like to go in there and watch fish. So anyway, I digress. But I learned then that almost anybody would talk to me if I would do it on television. So that's how I do. If I want to build a relationship with someone in town, I invite them to my show. Yeah. And I interview them, and I talk about what they're interested in. And later when I want to talk about what I'm interested in, they're there. So I use what you've got. You've got a TV station. People are always wowed. They come in, it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, you'd think that, they're on TV all the time, but someone's standing there with a microphone and a camera. But when they come into a studio, also, this reinforces with people important in your community what you have and what you do. It seems very professional and awe-inspiring, and that's really good. And it's intriguing. So, they'll talk to you again if you call them up. And it's just, use that tool. The magic of television is powerful, and you can lure a lot of people in. And, all the conversations won't work out like you want, but if you have enough of them, and then later people remember, I have this thing now, and they were needing that thing, and maybe I'll call them back up. So just a million little touches will set you on your way.
Yeah, I actually wanted to touch upon members and people who come in for our events and stuff like that. I remember we used to host a creative circle, which was just like folks, about a group of 10 folks, and it would change every time we would have it. But they would come in, and we would make sure that environment was safe for them, creating group agreements, and just also acknowledging that this is a safe space to make mistakes and to learn. We don't expect you to be professionals. And I just reminded folks, you're completely new to this. We don't expect you to be professionals. Don't hit the ground running. Learn, start crawling, and we'll go there, because you weren't born You weren't born and you started running. But, we started bit by bit and just reminding them to be kind to themselves, like, honestly. And some people need to hear that from time to time because they're just on the grind and pushing themselves. And, through my time, I've only worked since 2018 in this in community media, but just seeing folks get so flustered at themselves because they're not good enough yet. And I have to say, yet. That's right. You can still do it. You just have to be open to and be open and patient to do it. And you can't imagine some people's reaction like, oh my God, like I needed to hear that. Yeah. That's what I needed. Okay, I need to like self-reflect or something. Like they get touched and they get remembered. They remember that, okay, I could do this. Let's move forward. And we'll start slow. Yeah. But yeah.
And that actually touches on, like, we're all creatives and we know how if we're trying to be creative under pressure, it rarely works. We have to have the freedom to kind of flow in our creativity. And so I love what you shared because people will come into the orientation and they're like, well, which class should I take? And should I take all of them or should I do it in a particular? I'm like, no. They're free, first of all, like chill. And then like, what do you want to do? You literally can choose what you want to do, and then you can do that for a whole month if you want, and then come in and do something else, and so I love that because it takes that pressure off.
Yeah, I kind of like to call it like a playground.
Yes.
Where if you're self-driven, you're motivated, you can go as far as you want.
Yeah.
But if you're struggling, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, what did I need to do? I get sidetracked. Like having a structure and those programs that we offer at CMAC, digital documentary filmmaking, that really provides that structure that they needed, that 10-week program to just like, hey, I'm going to teach you the in and outs, and it's okay because I'm going to be with you throughout the way, and we're not going to take a lot of your time. Yeah. And that's providing like not only just the playground mode where people can come in and lead themselves, start whatever. But some people just start with podcasting or I already know what I'm doing. I just need equipment. So it's really cool to see the diversity that we get and experience and everything. So, and I love that we have that. We offer that.
Yeah. And speaking about the playground, so Meta, they talk about not about climbing a ladder, but being in a jungle gym, which means you can go side to side, you can go diagonal. And so that's something that I think really fits, right? You can go anywhere that you want to go, but it's up to you. Exactly. And on that note, talking about Meta, I wanted to just mention a point about social media. One thing that we did really well recently, one of Bobby's team members named Kat, she put together a really cute video of all of our team under it was remixed with Full House, right? Very fun, very, simple. But our executive director, he posted it on his social media, and people said, finally, you guys are showing yourselves, right? Finally, we're getting to see your team. People who are there with us, they see us all the time. But there's a lot of people who hear about Pasadena media, but they don't see us. They don't get to see us in action. They don't get to see us doing our thing. And so it was something so simple. It was less than a minute probably, but it made such a huge impact. And so that's something we're gonna do. I'm looking forward to the Office one that's coming out.
I'm looking forward to that too. Make sure you tag us.
Right, I will. Yeah, but just social media, don't force a bunch of information down people's throat. Throw the information in between things that are entertaining, engaging, and shows who you are. I think that's a part of the relationship building. And people relate to it and they'll engage naturally, so you don't have to force the engagement, right? And so we'll move on to our tips and tricks, outreach and engagement. And so some of the things, and I'll just mention these and then I'll just allow us to kind of talk to them, but know your audiences, right? That's the number one rule in communication, and the number one rule in PR is it depends. So just know your audience and know that your message depends on the audience, okay? And then building community partners, friend raising, which I'm really excited for my sis here to talk about. And then don't be the best kept secret in town. How many times do we hear that? We're not the best kept secret in town. Now everybody who comes in and says that, I'm gonna say you're wrong. It's not true anymore.
I'm gonna need you to stop.
Yes.
Rewind.
I rebuke that notion.
Yes.
Nonsense.
So I'll pass it to Maricela to share there.
Yeah. So just with the know your audience, we need. I like to know, like, for me, I like to know the different programs that we have. So when we're going out to our communities, I know that I'm going to talk to this about when I'm meeting with young people. I'm going to talk to this when I'm meeting with community members and everything like that. So knowing who you're going to be working with or what communities you're going to be going into really helps to adapt your message to fit whatever they need. And I think I really relate to, I don't like to sell, I like to inform and plant seeds.
Yes.
Because it's just when you're ready, they come in and like we're like about dang time. But then again, building community partners. I think I've talked a lot about it, and we've all talked a lot about it. So that's and then we're talking about friend raising as well. So one of the biggest things that we have to do now as like community media centers is fundraise. We have to make sure that we're keeping up and making sure that we're able to run programs, pay our staff, and everything like that. But we can't forget to friend raise too, that we have to make sure that we're building those networks. So we are starting to build those community partners and stuff like that. So fundraising really works really well with building community partners. And I actually want to thank Phil, because I think you're the one who gave me that friend raising name. So he's our board member over there. Thank you for coming. And then like you guys, we get like. I remember we got one of our long-term members. He's been there since 2012. We're babies. All right, you guys. And he's been there since 2012. And when he's bringing in people, he's like, yeah, this is CMAC. It's the best kept secret. Yeah. It's a hidden gem. I'm like, no, we're not. No, thank you. So, rephrasing that, especially in our members, because like, it sounds cool, but it really is just a blow to the gut for us. So, definitely like the way we speak to our members and how they speak to their folks is really important. So we make sure that they're also giving the accurate information as well.
Beautiful.
Well, I think the way that I approach this is that we have two audiences. One are those people who watch our channel, and then there's those people who give us the money for it. So I always have them. I have them in mind when I do things. And one of the things that we're doing right now, we're investigating, and I believe that we'll be able to do it, is to offer captioning in Spanish and dubbing along with it. So you can listen to it in Spanish, or you can read it in Spanish and English, and you can switch back and forth depending on what you want to do. So it's an interesting technology, and I've seen it demoed, and the county's excited. So we'll see. So they're my main audience. Of course, a lot of we have a huge Santa Cruz is a real diverse community, so we've got just about everybody there, and we have. We don't have a real, as you all know, we don't get any information from the cable company, so we don't really know who's watching. So we have to figure it out. And we figure it out a lot by phone calls when people are upset. They never call to say, boy, did I enjoy that. Right. And they always have a problem. So,
it's always when they have the problem.
Yeah. So we ask them questions when that happens. But basically, I go by the government demographics of who's out there. And a lot of the people out there speak Spanish. So that's one of the ways that we're addressing a particular community. But the other way that I've done it is by going with the schools, because everybody's in there. And so if I help enough schools and enough school children, I'll reach their parents, because they will bring home that backpack full of gear, and their parents will see it. So it's not, I'm sort of a blunt instrument. It's not really strategic, but I think eventually I'll get to everybody.
Yeah, that was the Disney model, by the way. They were wanting to promote to adults to get the kids to watch, and they were like, forget the parents, let's put everything at the level of the kid. And all the kids started getting their parents to sign up.
Yeah, because their parents are in their videos.
Yeah.
They sent in.
And what parent can say no to the cute little face of their child, It's hard. It's hard. So now we're going to do Q&As. We want to hear from you all if you do have anything that you want to ask us. Some people had things to share with us last year. So
so we're hoping we're giving you enough time. So I believe this is
we have 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
We're doing good.
Yeah, you guys. We wanted to give you enough time, so we wanted to make everything like nice, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah.
And then Obviously, we're open to questions, but if you guys want to follow us or check out our webpage or anything, our information is up there, so feel free to scan whatever QR code you like. Hopefully, you can scan individual ones, but if not, just zoom in. But yeah.
That's Maricela there.
It's a great team effort. We're all
Yeah.
vibing together, so it works
sure.
really well.
Yeah.
So
Any questions?
raise your hand or stand up. We're good. If not,
Oh, questions?
oh, yes.
What were some of the most like challenging initiatives to implement? Like new initiatives for engagement that you wanted to implement or shepherd? Or some of the easiest?
I think the hardest one for us was giving equipment to schools. We started with schools, and that was challenging because the equipment we gave them was valuable, and it has to be a grant because, as you know, we're not allowed to give equipment away. So all that stuff has to be tracked. There has to be a lot of documents. We had to come up with a grant application and a grant to sign off and a letter saying, hey, you got your grant. And then a lot of tracking of the gear. So that, once we got it though, now we just continue to use it. We've been using it for 10 years. But it took some time, in a big committee, which is always fun, to develop these documents. And once we got them, then we kind of tested them. We did a grant and we saw what didn't work and we tweaked it, and we did another one and we tweaked it, and we've just been going on from there. That was the most complex thing I think we've done.
Yeah. I can speak to the process. I think the most challenging thing tends to be having an idea and then needing to work with partners, and then realizing that some partners are really difficult to work with. Some partners are about themselves and not about the community that's being served, and then finding workarounds. It's my specialty, where it's like, okay, well, I tried you. Maybe it's not a good partnership, and then moving on from there and pivoting, not being like, don't let it stop you just because someone's not the right partner, or like the way you thought it should work didn't work. It just means that there's just like a different way to go about it. And so I think that was something I think early on when I first started was a little challenging for me because it was such a letdown. It's like, oh, this is for the kids. Why aren't these adults like caring more about the kids, but that's okay. That's just people. And then what I find is when we do make it happen, it's so much better, right? Because the thing that's supposed to be is not going to be difficult. It's actually going to be fairly easy. Not that it's not a lot of work, but it's going to be easy because everybody's going to be in alignment. So yeah, that's what I would say about the process itself.
Jasiri, we have a question in the back, way back.
Connected to the grants and the equipment that you were talking about, I was just wondering, like, liability and insurance-wise, did you have to,
Yeah, we had a document that, what was it called? There's a release form for the child in case they put themselves on television. And there also is one for not misbehaving with the iPad, because you can get to the internet. And
Right.
we wanted to bar them from certain sites, but Apple has its own ideas about what you can do with kids on it, and they wouldn't help us because we were not. They'll only work in certain organizations and kids. So we couldn't control them manually. Like, you can get a package where you can have 50 iPads for your company and you control them from your desk. And you can't do that with kids because you might be watching them or something through the camera. So there's that. We have special liability for that kind of thing. So just talk to your insurance agent. It's not expensive, just to tack on. And then the schools had the document that we needed in order to give a media device to a child. So we worked with the schools, and they got them all signed. And a lot of kids, when they go to school now, sign a release. Their parents sign a release for them to be on video. So that's usually taken care of, but we always double it down and have our own, just in case.
Smart.
Yes.
Yeah. Anita? Hi. Yeah, the government channel was doing live sessions with the government officials, and that was periodically. And then as far as our team, we were more so putting out those Pasadena media news stories. So that's pre-recorded, pre-prepared. Some of it, I'm just shout out to Angela and Sharon, those are my girls, because there were moments like where we were changing it up, like literally, please put this out like today in a couple of hours, and they were on it. And that whole week we were just, I don't think you realize when none of us were affected, like we didn't lose our home, but we were, when you're the support of people who have lost everything, it can be very taxing on you, like mentally, emotionally, physically, and you don't really realize it until like things kind of subside. And so that was just a really busy time for us, but it was just amazing because had we not had the support of like such awesome teammates, I don't think we could have done it. And so, yeah, they were just whipping out these stories. I would get them and I'd send it over. I'm like, can we do this, quickly? And they were just on it. So it was a combination of live and otherwise. And so the pre-recorded stuff was for the community channel, and then the live streaming, and then, it ended up being pre-recorded later, was on the government channel.
Another thing you can do in an emergency situation like that, it's like for me, I have no people. So I had someone do a crawl. It's on TV all the time, all the channels. It tells you where to go for water, where are the sandbags, where can you get what you need, important phone numbers. It just runs all
That's
day. So you're
good.
kind of live, but without a lot of work.
Being a part of the fires where Monrovia, so
Oh, yeah.
we were out of power.
Hey, hold on.
It's happening. It's happening.
This is not, we're not live on TV, so just play around. And I also encourage them to experiment and make mistakes. Because I found when I was alone at night in an edit suite and it broke, that's how I learned. And I was all by myself, and I never forgot because I had to figure it out myself. So I encourage them to play and to make mistakes.
I'm really big on judge, but don't be judgmental. I think people don't understand the difference between the two words. Judgmental is I'm giving you feedback that is probably going to hurt your feelings. It's going to make you feel rejected because I'm rejecting something about your work. And as creatives, we know that when our work is challenged, it feels very personal. And so that judge, but don't be judgmental means that I may have an opinion that I'm going to share with you, but I'm going to give it to you as constructively as possible. So that you're understanding that I mean for you to be better and to be well through this, not to feel down about it. And Stanford is, they have this quote that they use that feedback is a gift. And I often just kind of interject that because it is a gift. It's an opportunity and a gift for us to be better and to see ourselves through the eyes of others. And when we're able to do that, we may see skills and talents that we can't recognize in ourselves, but then we can also see ways that we can do better.
I love how you put that. That is just right on point. And I saw who had.
Sorry, Angela.
I was just gonna add, yes, and. Remind you that safe space can look like intentionality too. Sometimes like having a program designed just for that, where you call it like a mock, a city council meeting, where you're gonna have 10 cameras and then you actually come in. Maybe it is live. I feel like doing stuff live is sort of the test. I still mess up live. But we, as creators, are also the ones setting the tone. So having somebody shepherding it and leading it that has a really even temper, that's not going to freak out, because they're going to kind of mirror whatever our temperament is. And if we're just like, it's no big deal. Yeah, I just messed up too. See, you get them more comfortable with the tools just by simply being there with them, working through it with them,
She's on my team, by the way, guys.
And then there's someone who's been raising his hand up back there.
Thank you. You all pointed something out that I thought was really interesting, specifically about making in-house content, whether that's in-house produced shows or interior facing social media. And I wonder how much kind of civic engagement and community engagement how is that directly translated?
Yeah, I don't know if do you mind?
Go for it.
Okay, yeah. We've actually ramped up on our Pasadena media productions a lot. There were a couple shows that were already happening, so we tightened them up, made them look better. we can't ask our community producers to give us better quality if we're not pumping out better quality. So we amplified that, but then we thought about like what needs to be talked about. We just did a show, or we finished our first season of a show called Accessibility for All, Integrating Accessibility. The first season was just beautifully shot. It was so groundbreaking. Our first episode, we had an ASL interpreter, which we know is happening even in mainstream entertainment now. They're being more cognizant of the need for that. One really success story that we had just recently, because of the quality of the show and our host advocating for the show, she was invited to sit on a panel in New York with blackdoctor.org and USA Today. I jumped on the call just as the representative of the station. It turned into me and my team going to New York to shoot the whole event, just off of our show, right? So these are opportunities where you will not know like how impactful it is. Orientation I had on Monday night, a guy came in, he's like, yeah, I'm in the medical industry, and like you guys kept popping up. And I'm like, was it related to ADA? He's like, yes, exactly. And so you don't know where your shows are going to be found at. Other shows that we do are focused on, they're hyper-focused on the city because people, again, want that news. We have one host who is he's a city, one of the city council members' representatives. So he sits in the council meetings. So once a month he comes and he just gives like those hot points, you know, what's going on. Really fine-tuned, beautiful show. We have Arroyo Now, which right now we're showcasing fire content. I would love to show you guys a clip if you have time. I can show it to you afterwards. It's just a beautiful 5-6 minute clip. But it's just, you know, it's about what's happening in our city. Like, what are organizations doing? Who are these people? Like, showcasing like who they are as an organization and how they're impacting the community, or how over the last 100 years they've been impacting the community. But think about, like, again, speaking to your audience, what does your community need more of? Everybody in this room needs more ADA knowledge, period. Like, we don't know enough. And not only as people who may have a disability, sometimes we don't even know that we have a disability. And we may be thinking we're lazy or we're clumsy or whatever, not knowing that we actually just have something that's ailing us that hasn't been identified yet. And so, like, just learning about accessibility has positioned us to not only identify certain things maybe within ourselves, but then provide opportunities for others to know that about themselves, and then for us to support folks who are experiencing those things. And this year in particular, we're going to be focusing on those invisible disabilities, which are so important because we may not realize they're even there. So yeah, that's
I just want to say to that too, is that like having an understanding and like going through the training of, you know, ADA access, what does a disability look like, the invisible ones and stuff like that. Coming from a background working in special education, like it teaches you and it opens you up to a lot. And you guys, I'm gonna tell you this, I never thought I had the patience, and they tested me, and now I have the patience. But yeah, and it just makes you better to move forward. Like I said, I was able to develop an understanding and that patience to have with folks, because we don't know where their background is. You know, if they're going to undiagnosed and stuff and just walking through life, you know, as is.
And I was going to say really quickly to community partnerships, there's a lot of organizations who serve young adults, youth who have certain disabilities, and they want programs that you can customize for their students or their participants. So it's a great way to also get out in the community.
And we only have about 7 minutes left, so I'll take a couple more questions. Did someone have their hand up here before? No? Okay, Kara?
Hi, I have a question for Becca. So I actually just recently moved back home from Santa Cruz for the past 3 years. I went to UC Santa Cruz.
A little higher, can't hear you.
I just moved back from Santa Cruz. I lived there for the past 3 years. I got a degree from UCSC in film and digital media.
Yes.
And I actually didn't hear about you guys until I started working at CMAC. So I just was wondering, like, do you have any sort of partnership with UCSC or?
We have tried and tried. Also, we have had interns from there, and the interesting thing is, we're not sure why. I know now there's a new film program, but in the lab, what we try to bring, we try to recruit UCSC students to work for us in the government meeting area, so they can kind of get, they can learn to shoot. It's kind of a job in media that's not like, you're going to get into trouble if something goes wrong. Not much trouble. And, but they don't know how to use cameras. And I've always wondered why. And so,
last year.
yeah, I think now they have them because of the new film program. So I don't, if you know who I could talk to, get in there.
Yeah.
I have tried information services, and one of our board members used to work in information services, and we have tried to develop a relationship there and haven't been able to. But we would like to.
Yeah, I might have some contacts for you then. I just was curious because it seems like it would have been a great resource while I was going there, and I never once heard it mentioned by anyone from faculty.
1 year, and I don't know why this happened, I got 3 resumes from UCSC students asking for an internship. I was like, this has never happened before. How did they find me? So it was during the pandemic, so we did it online, and they all made a TV show. And it was really fun. They started off, I started them off with nothing. They produced their own shows. Eventually, they found their person, their subject, and then they interviewed them. And then we went through all the steps. They wrote their piece, and they edited it together, and it was great. We got 3 really nice half hours, and I really enjoyed working with them that way. It was very fun, and I think it was fun for them because they got to make a thing. They got on TV, and it was all theirs. So I'd love to do it again. I don't know how they found it.
Bill?
I have a lighter question. I know I've been pretty impressed with CMAC swag. And I'm curious if the other entities in the room, do you have like apparel? Can I go buy a Pasadena t-shirt?
Not yet.
Or can I buy a Hawaii t-shirt?
Yeah.
That's community media. I think, can they buy one on?
Yeah, so
You guys go buy a t-shirt on
if
our
you're
website.
sitting here, we have, so the person filming in the back, that's our CMAC MTV style shirt. And then I think you've seen a community media one, that's our most recent one, which has,
Jose has it.
all right, represent, please be our model.
Bunch of different languages.
It says community media in 5 different languages, so I hear you. So it has it in English, obviously, since that's one of the top languages spoken here, but it also has it in Spanish, Hmong, Tagalog, and Punjabi. And those are the top languages here. And I also want to give Daniel from MC the props because he also gave that info, and our board member Chad, who isn't here today, but he was definitely wanting some diversity on community media. And I had a dig for translations. I had to use our networks. We have a thing called the Big Tell, and I had to contact one of our winners, and I worked with their dad to make sure I have the correct translation. And then I did a Facebook group on how do you do community media in Hmong. I'm I took 2 classes, but I don't know everything. So being able to work and reaching out to those connections, because I even reached out to City College and try to get some stuff there. I don't know, I really love it because it just not only represents us as community media centers, and it's neutral. So that's why I'm you can buy the shirt and wear it wherever you are, because it's not just CMAC, it's all of us. But yeah, that represents our community here in the Valley. So I'm really proud of the stuff that we're able to do, and my boss Natalie, who allows me to go crazy with our merch and stuff. So yeah.
And you guys will soon have them available, right?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
So how do you balance between education, enlightenment, entertainment, and salacious?
With purpose. Purpose and teams. I think teams really does help a lot because we all support each other regardless of what department we're in, but we got champions in different departments. So, someone's champion, we have champions for our Fresno Art Beat project. We have another champion for the women's documentary program that we have, Empower Heard. So we have champions for that, and we have staff that will back them up to support them. So Ben, one of our staff members, he did the film rights. He's like, I want to do a logo. I was inspired from what he did, and I made a logo. I'm like, I learned how to use Procreate, and I like sketched out an idea. I researched like what I wanted to get, and like, you know, we were able to get a logo, and hopefully this year when we run it, I can make some stickers of that. So
you have ombudsmen for each of your target audiences, so you understand.
for the most part, like, you know, we are able to blend, like for our operations team, they mainly work with like people who paid productions, partnerships. We work with the Fresno Arts Council to cover some of their meetings and stuff like that. So they're all over the community with their external productions. And then we have our community media team that really focuses in on that teaching aspect, regardless if whatever diversity community you're coming from, we're here to educate you. And then our team, we have the outreach with volunteers, with mixers, meetups, and all that stuff. And we focus on getting people in the door, planting seeds, planting opportunities for them to get engaged on a different capacity without the pressure of, I need to submit a project, I need to do this, I have to film, I have to learn. No, it's just come, it's an ice cream mixer, come over and just have some ice cream with us. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. You guys, yeah, we've reached our end. We definitely want to thank you for coming. We appreciate you. But if you do have any questions, feel free to contact us and you know, touch base with us. We're going to be here until tomorrow anyway, so take advantage.